Kanye praising the Trump agenda while also highlighting things he wants to work on with the commander-in-chief. Says there's work to do. Let's talk about it with tonight's Power Panel. Democratic strategist Isaac writes he's a partner at Forward Solutions Strategy Group. Campus Reform Editor-in-Chief Lawrence Jones and Republican National Committee spokesperson Kayleigh McEnany. Welcome to all of you.
Good to be here.
Hey, Shannon.
All right, I want to play a little bit more of some of those comments on CNN, previewing Kanye coming to the White House. Here's what a former GOP spokesperson from Capitol Hill, Tara Setmeyer, had to say.
He's an attention whore like the president. He's all of a sudden now the model spokesperson. He's the token Negro of the Trump administration.
Lawrence, I'll start with you. I sort of gasped when she said that. That's quite a line.
Well, let me say this. There have been a lot of black Republicans within the movement that have tried to mobilize black folks in the past, and they have been not successful. And so Kanye is not the most articulate fellow, but he talks the talk like a lot of people in our community. And so for them to sit on their intellectual high horse and pretend like they have somehow been effective over the last 30 years of getting black folks to support the Republican Party, I think is insulting. I think it's time to start shaking this up. What Kanye did was raw. It was necessary. Did I agree with everything? Absolutely not. Did he provide a lot of solutions? No, he didn't. But it's a starting place. And a lot of people that are criticizing it saying it shouldn't have been done in the Oval Office, I'm sorry. That is the people's house. And I think that's where we need to start having these conversations with the President of the United States.
Isaac, do you think, listen, he's a creative guy. He's put out some fantastic music and some interesting things. The fashion, I won't comment on. But this guy's a creative guy. He talked today with the press about, listen, I'm complex. I'm not going to give you a quick little soundbite. I am like a fine wine with a lot of different notes. I'm playing 4D chess with you here. So listen, he had some interesting things to say. But is he being discredited or disregarded outright because he's willing to be somewhat supportive of this president?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think you see that around other celebrities who have supported President Trump. I don't think you see that around other celebrities on the other side of the aisle. In fact, I think, if anything, there's much to do about nothing here in the fact that I just don't think these celebrity endorsements, whether it's Taylor Swift or Kanye West or whomever, really carry that much weight with an electorate. Now, all that said, what I think that is not being talked about enough here, and I say this in all seriousness because it really bothers me to see the people making light of it, I think we have a mental health crisis in America. I think Mr. West was very open about coming off medication. I think there have been some reports in the media about people in his inner circle voicing concerns. I think that is a separate topic than the politics, and I hope that that is something that can spark a real dialogue.
Yeah, but don't start that. Just because he has mental issues, there are a lot of Americans that have mental health issues that can still talk about politics in America. They can still talk about what's affecting their community. So to sit on national TV and say that we should somehow discredit him.
Whoa, I didn't say that. Whoa, yeah. Well, hold on. I didn't say that. In fact,
but okay, gentlemen, stop for just a second here. But Isaac, you have to. All right, guys, just if you'll stop for a second.
That's literally the opposite of what I said.
Okay, but Isaac, when you mention those things together, it for people there's a connection. We heard the same thing on Saturday Night Live the other night when they were talking about Kanye and sort of mocking, like, hey, I don't want to hear what people have to say. Joey Chestnut can talk about hot dogs because that's what he does. I don't want to hear Kanye talk about this. And they also used the words mental health illness and got into that. And a lot of people were very uncomfortable with any kind of connection there.
Yeah, I want to point out that was Pete Davidson, who himself has come out about his own mental health issues and talked about it from that perspective, and even talked about the dangers he faced. And yes, it was on Saturday Night Live, but even talked about when he was off his medication, what happened.
Okay.
I think there's a real seriousness here, and there's a real concern that needs to be had separate from the politics that should not be a matter of.
Okay, but Kayleigh, he said a lot of things that people, they either want to disregard or don't want to pay attention to, but here's what he said when he was asked about the violence and guns in Chicago, his hometown.
Illegal guns is the problem. Not legal guns. We have the right to bear arms.
I mean, that was quite a statement there, Kayleigh, and that's not going to win him any points with the left either.
It's not going to, and he made a lot of good points. He talked about manufacturing, bringing jobs back to middle America. He talked about welfare. He had very well-informed political opinions, but you're going to hear the left call him mentally ill, as many have done, say he's off his medicine, as was just said. Lawrence is right. It's an effort to discredit him, and just compare the way folks talked about Kanye before he came out for Trump. They called him a genius in Rolling Stone. They said he's the king of hip hop. Then all of a sudden you see on CNN them calling him a publicity whore. CNN's words, not mine, calling him a token. You look and he's the most awarded Grammy winner ever in history, but nevertheless, now he's derided as mentally ill. Folks talk about him entirely differently because he is now a Trump supporter. It is wrong, and anyone pointing to the mental health of Kanye West is doing a disservice to mental health and the crisis in this country, which Kanye himself talked about today at the White House.
Yeah, and let me note that he said that he had been misdiagnosed as bipolar. So according to him and the medical team that he has worked with, he says that that was a wrong diagnosis for him. So that's what he's had to say at that. I want to make sure that I touch on something else.
And People, his own family and the people close to him are disagreeing.
Okay,
That's a legitimate concern.
Let's move on from that.
CNN to make light of it, it's wrong of Fox to make light of it.
I want to make, and we are not, and I think it's very important to have a distinction there, as I think you're trying to make as well. I want to make sure that we talk about what is one of his big issues that he wants to talk about, which is prison reform, sentencing reform, those kinds of things. Jared Kushner is getting a lot of credit for staying at this with the president and trying to influence him on this. Van Jones, not a conservative, says this about Jared Kushner: his relentless single-mindedness has earned the respect of his supporters and detractors. There have been moments when Jared was single-handedly kept the idea of prison reform alive, although through his dedication and willpower alone. I want you each to weigh in on this quickly, emphasis on that. Isaac, to you first.
I'm glad to see progress being made. I think there's some problems with the First Step Act. I think right now Republicans are split on it, Democrats are split on it. Hopefully there will be things made to fix it, to make it better, including making it part of a bigger package that addresses sentencing reform as well. But at this point, we need to be thankful for any incremental steps we have forward. We need to look at how to make that part of a comprehensive plan. I hope President Trump will stand up to the 30 conservative leaders that were featured in Breitbart for sending an open letter to oppose it. I hope he'll stand up to them. I hope that this can be something that is a first step to build on.
Lawrence?
There's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle that believe that criminal justice reform needs to happen, from the conservative member Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, all the way to the Cory Bookers of the world. I commend the president for starting this. This is something that all Americans should get behind. But we'll see what happens, because you still got Jeff Sessions, who's the Attorney General, who has not been supportive of criminal justice reform.
Yeah, and Kayleigh, today the president says if it comes down to him or Jeff Sessions on this, we're going with the president's plan.
That's right, and Jared Kushner deserves so much credit here. Van Jones actually gave me that quote that you just read from my article. Also, rare in this town in D.C. that you get a congressman on the right and the left praising someone. Hakeem Jeffries said that Jared has been instrumental in this, and Congressman Doug Collins said we are one vote away in the Senate, one vote from prison reform. This has only been done twice in modern history. So to be one vote away, Jared Kushner, President Trump, they deserve a lot of credit.
Well, to get bipartisan cooperation moving on these very important issues, I think all three of you would agree. That's a good thing. So,
yes.
Isaac, Lawrence, and Kayleigh, thank you all for dropping in. Good to see you.
Shannon.